Yes, we do have a quorum, so if all town meeting members and officials would please get to their seats, and if you're not a town meeting member, you should be in the rear of the hall behind the barrier. Okay, if we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As is our custom at the annual town meeting, we will have a moment of silence, and I will read you the names of those former town meeting members who passed on during the previous year. Joseph P. Shannon, town meeting member, precincts 2 and 5. Alan D. Lamb, town meeting member, precinct 5. Wilford J. Dufour, town meeting member, precincts 1, 2, and 3. Joan Cassidy, town meeting member, precinct 2. Donna Dauphiné, town meeting member, precinct 5. Joseph M. Hamill Sr., town meeting member, precinct 5. Marjorie S. Pond, town meeting member, precinct 1. And now, since we have quite a few 2/3 issues tonight, in case we need to have I'm going to have counters please come forward. Over here, could I have Jeff and Christy come forward, please? In the middle, could I have Paul and Mr. Bowling? Over in the end there, Elenethea and Beth Johnson, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, we will now move to Article 1. To hear the reports of the Finance Committee, other town offices and committees, or act on anything relative thereto. Mr. Hussey. Kevin.
Can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me? Please stop me if you can't hear me. I'll try to get through this. But good evening, and thanks for your participation in the annual town meeting. The Finance Committee has completed its review of the town's budgets and CIP for fiscal 2016, which you have before you now. I would like to acknowledge the hard work by the Finance Committee, and I appreciate their commitment to adding value to the annual budget process. $58.3 million budget before you represents a $2.2 million or 3.9% increase from the final 2014 budget. This increase includes approximately $1.3 million in initial debt service for the new Auburn Middle School, scheduled to open in a few months. Excluding that expense, the 2016 budget would have increased by a more modest 1.67%. More to follow on that from the town CFO, of course. Highlights from the proposed budget and warrant articles include continued support in addressing our OPEB obligation with another $500,000 contribution. Continued support for our long-term roadway improvement plan. A conclusion in school capital spending plan that will result in a new middle school, upgrades and renovations to the former middle school, Packagug School and Bryn Mawr Elementary Schools. In addition, Bay Path Vocational Regional High School is concluding a significant expansion and renovation. I would like to add that approximately $100 million in school-related capital spending has occurred in the past 15 years affecting Auburn students, which I think we should all be very proud of. Regarding the fiscal 2016 budget, Due to the reliance on preliminary revenue assumptions from the state, our job on the Finance Committee is not complete. There are more town funding priorities to be discussed and debated when final funding from Beacon Hill is determined later this summer. It should be noted that the Finance Committee is on record by voting to prioritize additional staff funding within the DPW. In addition, a plan is in process to assume operation of the Packagug Golf Course on January 1st, 2016, when the current contract expires, which will also have a financial impact on the town. All priorities will be revisited at the fall town meeting when we have final cherry sheet numbers from Boston. Warrant articles before you include annual fiscal housekeeping. Regarding the warrant articles, the Finance Committee takes the following positions. Articles 2 through 13, yes. Article 14, we're deferring to the petitioner with an expectation at the time we were meeting that this article will be pulled. Article 15 through 19, yes. Further to the articles, Articles 2 through 10 are what we consider annual fiscal housekeeping articles. Article 11 adds $500,000 to our OPEB fund, which will total $1.7 million if approved. Articles 12 and 13 are annual articles sponsored by the school department. Article 16 cleans up old borrowing authorizations that have either been completed, under budget, or no longer are needed. Article 17 requests borrowing under the Sewer Enterprise Fund for needed maintenance and upgrades. Article 18 repurposes remaining CIP funds already borrowed for a safety-related ventilation upgrade at the Highway Department building. Article 19 redirects $600,000 in funds already authorized but not yet appropriated for original use on the Route 1220 corridor reconstruction project to be used instead on the section of Auburn Street from I-290 to Central Square as sponsored by the DPW Director. Respectfully submitted, Kevin Hussey, Chair, Ian Kavanaugh, Vice Chair, James Bonifilio, Edward Coleman, Kimberly Holstrom, Valerie O'Brien. Thank you.
Ms. Goodrich. She's
Good evening, town meeting members, and again, thank you for being here to do the work of town meeting. I am going to be very brief on the Board of Selectmen's recommendations, but do want to acknowledge the hard work that the Finance Committee, I've attended several of their meetings, and they're really the ones who are doing the yeoman's work. I acknowledge town administration, but I also want to acknowledge the school committee, the superintendent, again the Finance Committee, and town administration, who work so cooperatively with the Board of Selectmen. We all work to bring a budget forward in the best interests of the town, and I think that collaboration is really coming together and working. So with that said, the Board of Selectmen makes the following recommendations. Article 2 and Article 3, the Board of Selectmen voted at a meeting earlier tonight to recommend approval. Articles 4 through 13, the Board of Selectmen voted recommended approval at their last meeting. Article 14, the Board of Selectmen voted to defer at their meeting tonight. And Articles 15 through 19, the Board of Selectmen voted to recommend approval at their last Selectmen's meeting, submitted by myself, Doreen Goodrich, Chairman, Kenneth Holstrom, Vice Chairman, Stephen Simone, and Denise Brotherton, and Daniel Carpenter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Ms. Goodrich. Is Mark MC here? No, then Dr. Vanel.
Which one is this?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and good evening, town meeting members. On behalf of Mr. Imsey, Chairperson of the School Building Committee, as well as the entire School Building Committee and School Committee, it's my pleasure to present to you an update regarding the Auburn Middle School project. As you can see here, this is the West Street and the section that will be coming in. If you've been on West Street of late, they have well underway in the work to add in that turning lane, as well as the extra lane that will bring us to Route 12 there. This is a view, some of you may have been able to be in. I've been in several times over the past few months, and it is an absolutely beautiful building, and I thank you for that, certainly on behalf of our students. Looking here on your screen on the right is actually on the left is the public areas, the gymnasium and the cafeteria. This is the skylit foyer. On the right, you would see on the first floor are the office areas and guidance and nurse, and then the classroom wings go out to the right, and you'll see those again shortly. This is the stairway. Here at this point on your left-hand side would be towards the back, would be the cafeteria, and towards the front would be the gymnasium. This brings you to the second story where the media center is located, as well as the classroom wings. Here is another view of the foyer. This time from this view, the gym and cafeteria are on your right, and the classroom wings on the left. It really is a really magnificent entry when you come in. Here is the gymnasium. The floor just recently went down within the past couple of weeks. Bleachers are yet to go in. As you can see that there is the A Auburn logo that is in the center and very much has the theme of blue and white. This is a photo of the cafeteria. Towards, if you look straight on into this photo here, is the actual kitchen area, these serving lines where students will go through. Towards the left of the screen is the actual stage area where a music class will be taught. It's been designed beautifully that actually once the floor is down, it really draws the person's attention down to the stage. Here is the ramp that brings one up to the stage. There's actually a partition that will go across. The stage area will be used as a music classroom. There's a separate band classroom that's also been designed. That's the one that's facing Route 12. This shows one of the classrooms. This is actually the technology wing on the lower level. Each of the classroom wings, there are 4 of them, have a specific color code. And you'll see that the small glass tiling along the wall, as well as the stripe along the floor, it ties in together. So this is the navy blue hallway, the technology. There's OT down in this section as well. This shows one of the science labs. As you can see, there's considerable equipment that's in this room. There are sinks and whatnot, in a very large and open space. This is another view of that same science classroom, and there are 2 per grade level that are going to be shared by the teams. This, you can see, is the yellow hallway. So we saw the dark blue hallway, there's the yellow one, there's a light blue, and then there's a green colored hallway as well. It's beautiful. This is another classroom actually within the yellow hallway, not a science classroom, but the accent wall in the rooms along that hallway all have the same color as the tile that's out in the hallway. This shows the stairway. This is actually looking out towards the back of it. Life Care Center would be just beyond this, and this is where the synthetic field will be laid later this spring. This shows the entrance from West Street here. You can see that the not yet installed in this photo is, no, I'm sorry, this is the back entrance here. So the cafeteria has the, over here near the white truck is the cafeteria, and on the left side is are the classroom wings. This will be the drive where parents will actually drop off children in the morning. This shows the section that they are beginning to work on again in terms of where the synthetic turf field will go. Just beyond this, a little over to the right here, is the Life Care Center with the Masonic Lodge down here. This shows the classroom, the outdoor classroom area. This is the The grassy area, these are the 2 classroom wings, the double story, and just close on this side that they're beginning work on will actually be like an outdoor, almost like a mini amphitheater where they can have lessons and things, and will have full Wi-Fi access. And this photo here, it seems miraculous to me. I put this in one of my latest news articles. This was actually a photo taken of the site just a little bit more than a year ago on April 1st of 2014. So how far we have come with this building, and on behalf of most especially our students, I thank each and every one of you and the Auburn community for your support of this project. And we do look forward this summer to having many open houses, not only here, but at the other buildings that we're, with the transitions, and I'll talk a little bit about that during my presentation, but I thank you again.
Now, Ms. Jacobson.
Thank you. I will try to go through this quickly. What town administration intends to do at every annual town meeting is to just update you as town meeting members as to where your tax dollars have gone, what some of the highlights of the year are, and most of all, to thank you and let you know that we are spending your tax dollars wisely and efficiently. I'm going to go through this quickly, as I said, and it will be available on our website if anyone would like to look at it further, or ask me questions after. But in the interest of time, I'm going to try to be quick. So obviously, we do a lot with the dollars that are given to us. We have a number of different areas that we focus on, but I wanted to bring to your attention today some of the highlights of the past year. We achieved a bond rating of AA+ from Standard & Poor's, which is the second highest bond rating that you can get. We received a AA3 from Moody's with a positive outlook. We secured $691,608 in grants in calendar year 2014 alone. We completed a 3-year review process and the rewrite of the entire general bylaws, and I want to make sure to thank the Bylaw Review Committee and its chair, Mark Moss, for all their hard work. We developed a 5-year facility improvement plan for every municipal building in town, on the town side, and that includes funding strategies for addressing the needs in those buildings. We've got to maintain our assets. We created 2 new proposed financial policies for investments that are under review by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. We secured public and private funding for the playground at the Pappas Complex, which should be starting construction shortly. We renovated the library. If you haven't been there recently, please go in. It's beautiful. We sold the former Scavone property at 121 Southbridge Street and put it back on the tax rolls. We purchased the 61A land on South Hold Road. We completed and submitted the open space and recreation plan to the state. We developed and implemented a new online pothole reporting procedure, which unfortunately after this winter is much needed. We expanded our summer concert series last summer to 12 weeks. And we, most recently last week, developed a coordinated calendar of events on our website where you can go on and see one calendar where you can see all the events that are taking place on the town side, from the senior center to the library to recreation and culture, as well as other events in town. And we created a veterans tax work-off program. Throughout the year, we've committed to strong financial management. We've adhered to our written financial policies adopted in November of 2012. We've maintained conservative budgeting, strategic refinancing of our high school debt. We have our 5-year CIP that is continuously updated. We look at long-range forecasting. We, through this financial policies, put aside 1/10 of 2.5% for capital needs to reduce our need to borrow. We continue to look at healthcare and operational reforms. We're always looking at outside contracts to analyze for cost efficiencies to determine if that is the best contract or if we can bring the work in-house for any savings. We have remained committed per our financial policies to investing in the OPEB trust fund. And we are committed to maintaining a strong health trust fund, which we do have. All of this has had positive results. We've seen an increase in free cash, increase in our reserves to about a 17% level, increase in excess levy capacity, increase in roadway investments, continued investment into the OPEB and stabilization fund, our AA+ bond rating from S&P, and our AA3 bond rating with the positive outlook, which means within a 2-year period of getting that, Moody's has to make a decision on whether to upgrade us even further. We've decreased our borrowing costs, and we have decreased the existing debt by getting better bond ratings. The reduction on the high school debt alone was about $3 million over 10 years, which is about $300,000 a year that we do not have to pay in interest because of this, the reduced borrowing rates. And as a result, we've had extremely strong independent audit results. I just want to point out that free cash is at 6.1%. That's been an increase from 2011. We've increased the tax levy, increased the excess levy. We're now at 3.352. We continue to invest in OPEB. We're over $2 million, this being the 4th year that we've contributed to the OPEB. Our total roadway investment has continued to increase as well. This year, at FY15, our current year that we're in, we're at 1.930967. This just shows you where those dollars come from for each of the years from 2011 to 2015 in the roadway funds. It's a combination of pothole repair money, roadway improvement funds, drainage, Chapter 90, and general fund revenues. We have actively pursued grants. As I mentioned earlier, 2014, we submitted 39 applications for grants, and for a total of about $4.1 million. 30 of those grants were awarded, 6 are pending, and 3 have been denied, for a total amount of $691,608. In 2015, so from January until May 1st, we have submitted 8 applications, 6 were awarded, 2 are pending, and we received $44,228 so far. Of the amounts that I gave you, we do apply for regional grants as well. We fund shared equipment with other communities, we fund regional planning initiatives, public safety training, we fund regional health initiatives, public works, other public safety programs. We reduce the capital needs of this town, and we are able to enhance our efforts by working with other communities. We've applied for a total of 9 regional grants with other communities since 2011 for $1.2 million. We've received $768,000. Again, much of this is for equipment, so you may not see where the grant dollars go because it's specific to certain equipment. But we do have, we've received quite a lot of grant money, and we've been able to fund efforts that have necessitated us to work with other communities, and therefore we have not had to borrow against our own capital. The total grant activity since 2011 through May 1st, we've applied for 99 grants, $8.2 million. 78 of those grants have been awarded, 9 pending, and 12 denied. The total amount awarded, $2.1 million. Some of the things that we've funded are public health trailers, tree removal trailers, a portable EOC trailer. Just last week, we're about to receive within the next 2 weeks a brand new bomb dog vehicle for our regional bomb dog. That's $50,000. Breathing apparatus for the fire department, over $320,000. Dive training and equipment. Our Code Red is funded. We have iPads for our public safety officials. We have a regional priority plan, a regional stormwater management, roadway construction projects, a playground, dugouts, a culvert project. As of last week, a walking trail project, senior programs, and library materials. We are committed to looking for grant funds wherever we can to offset our costs. Just really quickly to go through Department of Public Works, I would be remiss if I didn't mention and thank them for the tremendous job that they did this winter. This really was an unprecedented winter of snowfall, weather conditions, and our DPW did a great job, and they should be commended. They are just went out to bid, and they're about to go out on $3.2 million worth of road projects to begin this spring, and you can see on our website those roads that have been selected. Through facility management in DPW, which went into place in June of 2012, there's been over $600,000 in savings since that department was implemented in the projects that they've done alone. On an annual basis, we calculate that we save approximately $65,000 a year through fleet maintenance on a regular basis. They're also in charge of sewer maintenance, stormwater, parks and cemeteries, street sweeping, leaf and brush pile, the pothole reporting system, and recreation and culture. Our police department, over 20,000 calls this year. In addition to all the standard calls that you can see on the left-hand side, the police are very active in the community through this year a Citizens Academy, have also focused on social media just to make sure that they're doing outreach and communication with the public through Facebook and Twitter. Our school safety officer remains in place. They work with the Special Olympics, and they raise money for a scholarship. Fire Department handled 3,200 emergency calls and over 1,000 code enforcement actions. In addition to all of the work that they do on the left-hand side, also, they are very much into communicating with the public. They do a great job reaching out to the public through social media, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. They offer senior safe programs, kitchen safety programs, choking classes for businesses, fire safety week. They're very, very active in the community. Health programs and initiatives, some of you may have participated in these. The Board of Health Flu Clinics, Hazardous Waste Day. We just had a great event the other day. I won't go through them all, but clearly the health department is very, very active. Community events continue to be important to us. We want to make sure that we're providing programs and services for all ages of the population. Summer in the Concert Park series, Independence Day, Fall Festival and Homecoming, the tree lighting, the craft fair, the recreation complex, senior center programs, library programs. We continue to put programs on, and again, we now have the coordinated calendar that you can look at to find out what those are. I just want to make a mention of the communications and outreach, that we do have a multi-layered communication strategy. When I first started in 2011, I was asked by many people in the community who I met with, including the Board of Selectmen, to try to enhance our communication efforts with the town, to try to bring more information to the residents and to the businesses so that you knew where your tax dollars were going and what we were doing as a town administration. As a result, we have a comprehensive program that uses social media, the Auburn Account quarterly newsletter, local radio 1610 for emergencies, Code Red for all their emergency operations, Auburn Guide, Auburn Community Television. We have public service announcements, electronic town updates, electronic billboards, and we work closely with our local media. Some people have asked, why are we doing this? It's critical. 74% of online adults use social networking sites. Nationwide, adults are using a smart device 11 hours a day online. 50% of people report that they get their news through social media. We have to keep up with this technology. We have to make sure that we're reaching all populations, and we have to make sure that we're doing it correctly. The benefits of multi-layered communication strategy are many. It enhances transparency, it provides a forum to disseminate facts, it allows people to communicate with government, and we're proud of the fact that many of our departments have been engaging in this. One of the last things I wanted to mention to you was green initiatives. We were designated as a green community in 2012. We completed our first green community grant, which was $165,500 to implement energy savings efficiencies throughout town. We applied for the next round in the amount of $237,000 to hopefully convert Town Hall to gas, as well as to do some improvements at the police station. We received a grant for a part-time energy manager who is in place. We recently, last week, a couple weeks ago, received a recommendation, and I want to thank the committee for that, the Wind Turbine Committee, on municipal aggregation. And the other day I signed a contract with the consultant, and I want to thank town meeting members because in the fall you voted to enable me to go forward and sign an agreement to start looking at municipal aggregation. So the committee's done a great job. We signed an agreement with Colonial Power. We hope to be submitting an application after we receive Board of Selectmen vote very quickly. In the next couple of weeks, we'll be submitting that to the state, DPU and DOER, and we hope by the winter that residents and businesses will have the opportunity to receive lower, much lower electric rates through this municipal aggregation contract. I won't go through it, but business development remains strong. Our development coordinating group reviewed 38 plans this year and projects, and as you can see, there are a number of projects both completed, proposed, and ongoing in town. We remain active in public policy and advocacy. We work with our state and local legislators. We provide testimony on behalf of legislation or opposing legislation, and we make sure we stay on the radar of things that will have an impact on the town. Lastly, our strategic community partnerships. It's really critical that we maintain these partnerships to try to leverage our resources and bring new programs to the town. We're thankful for all of the partners on the right that worked with us over the last year. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Before I forget, one of the motions tonight, so that it doesn't take 3 hours, has an attachment which you were supposed to pick up when you came in. If you didn't, it's on the table at the beginning. Okay? So now we go to Article 2. to determine what sums of money the town meeting will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide for and appropriate to defray charges and expenses of the town, including debt and interest, and to provide for a reserve fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2015, and ending June 30, 2016, or act on anything relative thereto. Do I have a motion? Kim, thank you.
I move that the town meeting raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide for and appropriate to pay town debts and charges for the ensuing year, the several sums of money in the proposed budget as stated in the recommendation of finance columns on pages 19 through 61, inclusive of the Town of Auburn 2016 budget and annual town meeting warrant, totaling $55,380,749, and to raise said sum by transferring from available funds $30,000 from cemetery lots and graves, $25,000 from pension reserve, $3,000 from wetlands fund, $20,000 reserved for appropriation dog licenses, $50,000 reserved for appropriation Casella host agreement, $697,613 from reserve for appropriation ambulance, $20,000 from overflow trash bags, $22,000 from police towing, $36,000 from pack jug lease proceeds, $58,672.85 from high school middle school debt reserve, $5,000 from perpetual care, $37,618 from debt service refund BayPath, and by raising and appropriating or otherwise providing for the balance of said sums. Each total amount is printed in the recommendation finance committee column of the 2015 to 2016 budget to be considered a specified departmental appropriation, and further that the finance committee is authorized to transfer between the individual accounts which total any specific appropriation when requested by a department, and the committee feels such transfer is in the best interests of the town.
Thank you. Do I have a second? I have a second. Mr. Kazanovich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, all. Ed Kazanovich, Chief Financial Officer, Town Accountant, and Assistant Town Manager. I, like the Town Manager, will move as quickly as I can. This will also be uploaded on our website tomorrow for you to review. We are presenting a balanced budget tonight with total appropriations equaling $58,288,549.71 and an equal amount of revenue for a balanced budget. As the Chairman of the Finance Committee has indicated, if you look at the total revenue increase of 3.95, that's equal to the amount of the appropriation increase as well. That's primarily driven by the debt exclusion that needs to be raised for the Auburn Middle School project. If you net that out against that increase, it really equates to about a 6.7% increase. And in that 1.67% increase, that also includes a sum of money to meet the needs for the construction at BayPath as well. So on the operational side of the budget, it's much less than 1.67%. The formulation of the budget consists of the following. We have total tax levy revenue being raised of $35,631,000 and change. The real estate tax utilization in this budget makes up approximately 80% of a total Prop 2.5. It utilizes an estimated $450,000 of new growth. That is up about $50,000 over last year. Our 5-year average for new growth has been about $583,000. This budget utilizes a 1/10 of 2.5 as an earmark towards our capital needs, which is part of our financial policies. That value equals about $94,500. And this budget raises about $2.6 million outside of the levy to meet our Auburn High School and Auburn Middle School debt and interest cost that was approved by the voters. This budget taxes at 90.96% of the total allowed. Under the 2016 budget, our excess levy will increase currently at this recommendation by about $188,000. The excess levy would then be at a level of $3.5 million, which makes up about 9.04% of the levy. Here is a 6-year history of our excess levy. As you can see, in 2011 we had $833,000. You can see how that has grown to an estimated $3.5 million for FY16. Cumulatively, over that 6-year period, we would be allowed to tax at 2.5% each year. 2.5% times 6 years is 15%. Over that period in time, we've only taxed at a rate of 6.23%. That boils down to significant savings to the residential and commercial taxpayers of this community. On the cherry sheet side of revenue, we're using the most conservative numbers, which is the governor's. We only have 2 numbers. The governor's numbers would yield about $130,000 increase over current year. The House is about $11,000 more. This budget, in order to balance it, is only using $36,000 of that amount of money. The governor's cherry sheet revenue total, not including assessments, which is primarily Chapter 70 and unrestricted local aid, increases over current year by about $80,000. Once again, the House Ways and Means cherry sheet numbers, aid over current fiscal year makes up about an $84,000 increase. The Senate budget is not known at this time. We thought it would be premature to count on 100% of the governor's numbers or the House numbers, given the fact that the state is struggling to resolve a $1.8 billion structural deficit. Here are those numbers, the governor's numbers and the House numbers on the cherry sheet side. Here's a schedule released by DOR that highlights the assessments, charges, and offsets that come to Auburn on an annual basis. On the available fund side of the budget, we are projecting $1,268,000 and change. This is the first year of a 3-year plan that eliminates the overlay surplus to be used as a revenue source for our operational side of the budgets. Also, first year elimination of free cash to be used as a revenue source to fund our operational budgets. Ambulance proceeds is a large chunk of that 1.2. It's currently providing about $775,000 as an offset to the fire department operating budget, as well as 100% of their capital needs for ambulance-related equipment. SOAR retained earnings is funding 100% of the SOAR capital needs, currently recommended $150,000 under Article 3. And we are using $37,618 that we received as a refund for BayPath as a result of a lower interest rate that it received for its bonding needs. This is a premium that was received on that. That premium is returned back to the communities. On our local receipt side of the budget, we are projecting about $8.35 million. We are increasing our motor vehicle excise revenue to bring it more in line with our FY14 actual receipts. That total increase is $432,476 over our estimated for FY15. That's a big chunk of local receipts that is now being used to fund the operational side of the budget. We are also increasing our hotel, motel, and meals tax by about $100,000, once again, to bring that in line with our FY14 actual receipts. In all other local receipts, and I'll show you a schedule on that, we are estimated to receive about $55,000 more over current fiscal year. Here is a breakdown, a pie chart of our total revenue sources. As you can see, our tax levy is providing about 61.13% of our total revenue, followed by our cherry sheet state aid, about 17.88% or 10.4 million, followed by local receipts at 14.33. The debt exclusion for the high school and middle school is raising 2.6 million, and our available funds about 2.17% or 1.2 million. Total revenue 58,287,189.87. That's up 3.95% over FY15. Here on the expenditure side of the budget, we have total appropriations of 58.288 million. As you can see, here is a listing of the departments, which is included in your annual town meeting warrant book. These are appropriations and other amounts we have to raise on the recap as well. Here you can see out of the 58 million on a percentage increase, how the departments fall in line. As you can see on the total highlighted in white, just a little more than halfway down the slide here, you can see total non-school departments increase over current fiscal year is about $189,000, about a 1.41% increase over current fiscal year. 2 lines below that, you can see school department at $23,336,872. That's a $356,200 increase, or 1.55. All our other fixed costs are underneath that. Once again, a total budgetary increase of $2.214 million, or 3.95% increase. On the operational side of the budget, the recommendation provides an increase for all salary and wage line items on both town and school side. There are no new positions funded under the recommendation on the general government side of the budget. The school department, through a conversation I had with the superintendent this afternoon, has indicated, because they took a position on the budget Monday evening, that the budget increase at 1.55% would include new positions of 3.6 FTEs, full-time equivalents. That's 3.6. This budget increases employee benefits by $337,000 and change to meet our group health insurance, Worcester Regional retirement assessment. Also includes the amount of money we have to match for our Medicare obligation at 1.45%, and it provides for healthcare audit mandated under GASB 45 for our OPEB obligation. This budget meets all our debt and interest obligations currently in place. It estimates a 6-month interest payment on an anticipated bond issue that we intend on going out for in September of 15. I can tell you that we're probably going to have to fine-tune that and propose an amendment at the fall town meeting based upon the level of debt that we're going out for, and as well as the outcome of Southold Road, whether we permanently bond that or whether we continue to short-term borrow for that for a period of time. It increases the amount raised outside the levy to pay for our debt and interest costs for the Auburn Middle School. That total increase over the current year is about $1.3 million. Total non-school department increase, $189,000 or 1.41%. Those are all of general government departments, as I indicated in the prior slide. Total school department increase, $356,200, 1.55%. It increases Bay Path assessment by $214,095. That's comprised of an increase from current fiscal year of about $136,000 of debt and interest money that we have to pay for the capital assessment to meet the debt and interest obligations for Bay Path as well. $78,000 of that assessment is due to our enrollment increase, which is 11. It's either 11 or 12 students increase over enrollment for the current fiscal year. The budget provides for a level funding of our OPEB obligation of $500,000. That is applied towards a new actuarial amount that we received most recently of $67 million, which is our unfunded actuarial liability as of June 30th, 2014. There is currently no earmark in this budget for our stabilization. That's a consideration that we would have to make at a fall town meeting. This budget level funds cherry sheet charges and expenses at FY15 values. This budget also applies our adopted financial policies that was adopted by the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee in the fall of 2012. This budget also includes capital improvement plan under Article 3 totaling $2,224,881. Like the revenue side, here's a pie chart by function of government on the expense side. As you can see, on a direct appropriation look at the budget, education is the largest at 42.09% of total expense, followed by employee benefits at 15.17%, public safety at 11.58%, debt and interest at 9.42%, public works at 7.76%, assessments, offsets, overlay, CIP, and articles at 4.99%, general government is at 5.03%, inspectional and economic services, Department of DIS is slightly under 1%, 0.77%, and human services at 1.54%, and solid waste at 1.65%. Once again, total appropriations $58,288,549.71, 3.95% over current fiscal year. Appropriations over revenue gives us a balanced budget, is recommended with an unobligated amount of 0. That concludes my presentation. I think we're going to go through the departments now. I'd be happy to answer any questions when it comes to that point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kazanovich. Dr. Brunel. Between Articles 2 and 3, I'm going to do
Good evening again, town meeting members. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, members of the Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, School Committee, and those watching. I appreciate the opportunity to present to you the FY16 School Department budget request, as well as to provide a brief update on the state of the Auburn Public Schools. Choice, not circumstances, determines your success. What you will see throughout this budget are the difficult choices that were made not only by the Auburn School Committee, but the Auburn leadership team in making choices to determine what we believed would have the most and positive impact on our students. We began our work, as we do each year, in looking at our core values, our mission statement, and our vision, those most recently being reapproved by the school committee at the recommendation of the strategic planning team and design team. As you can see here, we base our decisions based on what's in students' best interest. We have high expectations for all. We ensure that we have a safe and respectful environment. We make determinations based on data. We believe that equitable opportunities is the way to go, and we are continuously committed to continuous improvement. But ultimately, at the end of each of our decisions, or brief prior to just making them, we always ask ourselves, how will this impact students in their achievement? After all, it is about them. The school committee and leadership team began this process by setting priorities. Student safety, whether it's with buses, whether it's in school, on the playgrounds, or if they go on field trips, it is a top priority for us. Student achievement, making sure that we have in place the opportunities for students not only while they are in school with us, but post-graduation to be able to excel and take advantage of any and every opportunity available to them. Transitions. This upcoming summer will be an incredible summer of transitions. Not only will we open the new Auburn Middle School, we will merge together the Julia Bancroft and Packagug students at the renovated middle school, which has been renamed and will take effect July 1st, Swanton Road Intermediate School, bringing together our intermediate students all in one building. We'll transition Mary D. Stone to the Packagug School, and we will ultimately, upon a vote of the school committee, close Mary D. and Julia Bancroft. Some of you were in attendance most recently on April 26th when we held a respectful closing event at Mary D. and JB, the intention being to welcome the community in to see these much-loved schools and to perhaps purchase some keepsakes of them. But while we honor tradition, we also likewise embrace the future. And the future, is indicated here and shown previously, really is the new Auburn Middle School, and I thank you again for your support of that. Other priorities are class size. We work to keep our student class sizes at 25 or below at elementary, and that is obviously our goal across the district as well. Technology, through our CIP money, operating budget funds, and the FF&E, we will have an iPad program, a one-to-one iPad program in grades 6 through 12 next year. This is actually a photo of one of the 3D printers that we have in the district. In textbooks, we'll be implementing a new math series, Go Math, after a year-long plus study of looking at the best options. Additionally, in terms of professional development, we believe that not only do we want our students to continually improve, but we also want ourselves, including myself, to continually improve and build and strengthen our capacity. The strategic plan that was approved just last school year, and I thank those of you who participated in that process, you will see evidence of that strategic plan in this budget as well. In the educator evaluation system, Auburn continues to be a leader in the implementation of that, and it really speaks to our commitment to continuous improvement and educational excellence. Assumptions that we make each year, because as Mr. Kazanovich indicated earlier, we don't have all of the final numbers, but we made assumptions as we built this budget. We use our October 1st counts in terms of student enrollment. We did use all of our anticipated grant funds, whether it's through special education or Title IIA grants as offsets. We built it based on $124,000 in Medicaid funds, and there was a warrant article for your consideration regarding that. We do a charge of $100 per student busing fee, and we've used $75,000 as an offset in the budget to reduce the impact to taxpayers. We likewise used revolving account funds, whether it's preschool, athletic, satellite, or Galaxy building rental accounts. Those likewise can be seen throughout our budget. We built this based on school choice of 41 students at the high school and 20 at Auburn Middle School, and assumed a circuit breaker reimbursement rate of 60%. The budget before you is $23,336,872, which does represent a 1.55% increase over the current appropriation. This is a listing of the new positions that we have added into this budget. With the next page, it will actually show some reductions that we made. Again, it came down to choices. We will be increasing 0.4 FTEs, the equivalent of 2 days time for school psychologists, to really help support our students who present with educational, academic, or emotional needs. We will be bringing in an inclusion IA in our kindergarten classrooms, this in line with our co-teaching and inclusion initiative. We do have a student who will come from the preschool who will require additional support, and we've budgeted for that. Swanton Road Intermediate School, when we bring those schools together, they will not have a one-to-one situation in terms of iPads, but very likely close to a 1-to-2. We'll be bringing a tech media specialist to help with the implementation of that. We're adding an LPN at Swanton Road because we'll be merging the two schools together, but it will come at the elimination of a school nurse. So that will be staffed with a school nurse and an LPN. Excuse me. At Auburn Middle School, we'll be adding a guidance counselor as well as a half-time custodian, the goal being to make sure that that building is open and available to the community on the weekends. At Auburn High School, we'll be adding a special education teacher as well as increasing the part-time guidance counselor, actually an adjustment counselor, by 0.2 with the equivalent of one day. District-wide, we'll be adding a speech and language pathologist, as well as increasing our part-time technology assistant to full-time. In total, that value, the increase, represents $327,196. But we did go through and actually make some reductions as offsets to that. We are eliminating 3 IA positions at the high school while still meeting all of our students' IEP needs. We're reduction, as I indicated, of the school nurse at Swanson Road, a speech language pathology assistant, instead we're going with an SLP totally, as well as a grade 3 teacher due to retirement, and class size is still able to stay at below the 25. So in total, our new positions realized are just shy of $145,000 of the amount being requested this evening, and in total the 3.6 FTEs, or full-time equivalents. Since 2009, this is my 7th year presenting a budget to you. On average, the school department's budget has increased slightly less than 2%, about 1.88%, and that's varied over the years. And we believe, as both Town Manager Jacobson, Mr. Kazanovich, Mr. Hussey, as well as Mrs. Goodrich, the collaboration is really, I think, what characterizes Auburn, and there's an awful lot of collaboration and communication that goes on. This is really reflective of our commitment to work together while still staying committed to our mission, which is to educate and prepare students for the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. In total in this budget, it's just shy of $2 million that you will see as offsets. Those come from the grants, the revolving accounts as indicated, as well as some fees that we do collect from our families. To give you a brief update on the state of the schools, the rigor, relevance, and relationship, and that's how we believe that we can strengthen connections. In terms of rigor, we do have both advanced placement and pre-advanced placement classroom class opportunities for our students starting in the middle school. We also do co-teaching and inclusion, as I had mentioned previously. We have the iPad integration. And noted in italics and underlined and bolded, those actually tie in with the strategic plan goals that we have of teaching and learning as well as technology. This is actually a picture of some of our students from the Julie Bancroft School who won the robotics competition that was held locally and went down to Louisville, Kentucky to represent the Auburn Public Schools. And these are students who were most recently, these were actually our outgoing officers of National Honor Society, ways that we can recognize our students and the many good deeds and achievements that they have. In terms of relevance, our professional development and training that we offer is job embedded. It's based on what is actually happening in classrooms and what that which will have the most direct impact on our students. Again, noted in bold, italics, and underlined is the connection with the strategic plan, teaching and learning, transitions, as well as technology. This here actually shows a picture of some of our high school students working with Sheriff Evangelides and School Resource Officer Kennedy in working with 5th grade students and really helping them to make good choices, especially as they launch into the middle school years. In terms of relationship, again, I mentioned here the co-teaching that we have, but also the community service learning projects. We are committed not only to taking from the community, and we are appreciative of the support that we receive, but also in giving back to the community. We had the opportunity, a number of us in the room, to participate in the Auburn Youth and Family Service Strategic Planning event that started this morning. And another words that kept coming up were collaboration, which I think, again, speaks highly to the Auburn community. This photo actually shows our marching band students. It's now in their 2nd year. They performed down at Disney World and did an outstanding job. Again, the connection is with teaching and learning, community partnerships, as well as transition. And then responding to needs based on data. What does the data tell us? Not only the academic data, but attendance data for students. The financial data that we have. Where can we get the most bang for our buck? And this actually shows students using some math and getting some real enjoyment and some learning out of some of the snow that we all enjoyed this winter. Recent college applications and acceptances. Throughout the Auburn Public Schools, there are indications of achievements and accomplishments that can be noted. But certainly, if we look at college acceptances, that's really the pinnacle of the Auburn public school experience. Where are our students being accepted into? And I think that you would agree, seeing this list, and it is not an exhaustive list, but there are some very prestigious colleges and universities to which our students are being accepted. And that's something that I think we all should take great pride in, and certainly most especially for our students. Through the strategic use of the CIP and the FF&E funds, as I indicated, we'll have a 1-to-1 in grades 6 through 12, and our students are thriving with the iPads. With the MSBA accelerated repair that you approved, some additional transfers at the March meeting, we'll be saving the town between 1.5 and 1.7 once those bids come in, with the replacement of the roofs at Bryn Mawr and the current Auburn Middle School, as well as a new boiler. This photo actually is one of the final beam before it was getting put in place for Auburn Middle School, but I thought that looked better than a new roof going in. At the Auburn High School level, we continue to add each year advanced placement classes. Next year we'll have 17 that will be available to our students, and this really speaks to our expectation of rigor, putting in place the support so that our students can work hard and achieve at high levels. This current school year, we had almost 400 students participate, some in more than one class, in these various AP offerings. For a relatively small high school, that's really quite an accomplishment. Our students continue to shine, whether it's athletically, musically, academically. The marching band here is another photo of them down in Disney World. Julia Bancroft was named a Blue Ribbon School of Excellence at the federal level. Packagug has been invited to and has just submitted their application also to potentially be recognized for this very prestigious honor. Packagug and Auburn High School were named commendation schools by the Mass Department of Education for their work in closing the achievement gap. And we're also proud and pleased to have a school resource officer through the support of the Auburn Police Department as well as you as town meeting members. STEM, and actually we can expand this to STEAM because we certainly are strongly committed to the arts. We continue to add programming here, and in fact, one of the classroom wings that I showed you earlier tonight from the middle school is the STEM wing. The Auburn Middle School was designated as a STEM academy. The high school has a freshman academy in place, and we use data as indicated previously at all levels. Again, it's all about maximum achievement for our students. We have a strong and positive collaboration with the town. When we work together as a team, everyone wins in those regards, whether it's the safety advisory team, which is school, police, and fire personnel, and they do terrific work and meet on an ongoing basis. This is actually a photo of some of the JV and PAC students in a race that they ran earlier this fall. The fire department has and continues to provide CPR and AED training. I mentioned the police department. As town manager Jacobson mentioned earlier, that the DPW department in getting our roads ready so that we can have school and safe. Those are only some of the examples of the collaborations that we have. It's a reciprocal relation that we enjoy and one that we greatly appreciate. The strategic plan, this came as a result of 120 plus of us working about a year and a half ago now in the cafeteria here and coming up with goals and initiatives that we wanted to meet. This actually is a drawing of a student at the graphic arts department at the high school. They were challenged by a local business to come up with a logo, and this is the one that actually this company is now using regularly. And there we see some of our We the People students who again went to the national level down in Washington, D.C., and I thank you for your support of that. This was their visit to the State House. As indicated previously, on behalf of Mr. Imsey, the entire SBC, the school committee, all of us in the Auburn Public Schools team, the APS team, but most especially on behalf of our students, I offer again sincere thanks to you, not only for your support of the Auburn Middle School project, but of the renovations of the current middle school in your support of our operating budget. We are in the Auburn Public Schools very proud of the work that is ongoing. We commit to remaining steadfast in accomplishing the goals. And the banner that hangs out in the foyer here on the bridge at Auburn High proudly proclaims that we are Auburn. And on behalf of the school committee, I thank you for your continued support and commit to working hard with you to continue to achieve our goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brunel.
Okay.
Okay, as we always do at this time, I will now read the figures on page 17 and the top of page 18. And I'll read the code, and then I will read the finance committee figure. And if there is any question, or somebody has to say stop or hold. Okay, account 114, moderator total 296. Account 122, selectmen total $10,987. Account number 129, executive office of the town manager, $346,395. Account number 131, finance committee total $815. Account number 132, reserve total $195,116. Account number 135, finance department total $569,015. Account number 151, law total $105,000. Account number 152, human resources $49,263. Account number 155, information technology $140,645. Account number 161, town clerk total $151,377. Account number 162, election total $19,480. Account number 176, appeals total $12,794. Account number 192, town hall total $30,200. Account number 199, general services total $305,195. Account number 201, school $336,872. Account number 210, police $4,085,183. Account 220, fire $2,667,488. Account number 291, emergency management $10,000. Account number 294, tree warden total $0. Account number 302, Bay Path $1,197,757. Account number 411, DPW department total $4,523,614. Account number 433, solid waste total $959,000. Account number 511, develop inspector services total $434,489. Account number 541, Department of Public Services $782,081. Account number 542, the Youth Commission $117,500. Account number 691, Historical Commission $0. Account number 710, maturing debt $4,071,645. Account number 752, interest $1,418,312. Account number 910, pension total $8,840,230. And the bottom total, $55,380,749. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those who are in favor of passing Article 2 or voting for it signify by raising their hands. All those opposed, it is a vote. And now if I may just take one moment. When I read the in memoriam, I neglected to have a moment of silence, so I'd like to have that moment of silence now. My fault. Okay, a moment of silence for those who passed on. Thank you. Article 3. To see if the town meeting will vote to approve a capital improvement budget for fiscal year 2016, to determine what sums of money will be raised by taxation and appropriated, transferred from available funds, acquired by lease purchase contract, authorized to be borrowed, or otherwise provided for, to fund the fiscal year 2016 capital improvement budget, to determine under whose direction the expenditure of said funds will be made, and to authorize the town treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow money from time to time for notes, bonds, or notes in anticipation of bonds or revenues to be payable in not more than the term provided by law. Said borrowed funds not to exceed such sums as the town may vote, or act on anything relative thereto. Mr. Koski.
Mr. Moderator, Paul Koski, Precinct 1. Article 3. I move the town meeting approve the 5-year capital improvement plan for the town manager, information technology, town clerk, planning, town hall, police, fire, engineering, highway, sewer, cemetery, senior center, elderly affairs, library, parks, and schools as stated on pages 63 through 69 inclusive of the Town of Auburn fiscal year 2016 budget and annual town meeting warrant, and further to approve an appropriation of $2,224,881 to fund the fiscal year 2016 capital improvement program as specified on pages 62 through 69 under the column entitled Finance Committee's Recommendations, and to raise said sum monies by borrowing and appropriating the sum of $660,454 from general fund revenues, $27,540 from CIP expendable trust, $77,387 from ambulance proceeds, $150,000 from sewer enterprise retained earnings. I also move that the town meeting authorize the borrowing of $1,309,500 for a period of up to 10 years for the items as identified in the 5-year capital improvement plan. I also move that the school department may, in its discretion and to the limits of its appropriations, transfer monies between line items identified on page 69 under the Finance Committee's recommendation column, as deemed necessary. I further move that prior to purchase, all over-the-road vehicles shall be marked on both front doors panels as property of the Town of Auburn for official use only, and to have a permanently affixed town seal, and that expenditure of funds so appropriated shall be under the direction of the Chief Procurement Officer of the town or school department.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Do I have any questions? Seeing none, and since this is a 2/3 vote, all those who are opposed to this motion, please signify by raising their hands. Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion, passed unanimously, voted unanimously. Thank you. Article 4. To see if the town meeting will vote to authorize the town treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow money from time to time in anticipation of revenues to be received during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2015 and ending June 30, 2016, and to issue a note or notes that may be given for a period of less than 1 year or act on anything relative thereto. Mr. Bowling?
Greg Bowling, Precinct 4. I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow money from time to time in anticipation of revenue to be received during the financial year beginning July 1st, 2015 and ending June 30, 2016, and to issue a note or notes that may be given for a period of less than 1 year.
Do I have a second? I must have a second, okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this again is a 2/3 vote, so I will first, any opposed to this article signify by raising their hands. Seeing none, all those in favor of this article voted unanimously, thank you. Okay. Now we turn to page 70. To see if the town meeting will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to submit applications for any available state or federal funds, including Department of Elder Affairs formula grant funds, which funds the board determines to be beneficial to the town, and to authorize the expenditure of any money received as a result of said applications, or act on anything relative thereto. Yes,
Ken Cross, Precinct 4. I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to submit applications for any available state or local funds, including Department of Elders Affairs formula grant funds, which funds the board determines to be beneficial to the town, and to authorize the expenditure of any money received as a result of said applications.
do I have a second? I have a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this article signify by raising their hands. Thank you. We're sort of in that group of every year boilerplates, I guess. Article 6.
Point of order. Can we ask for a vote? Can we actually ask anybody opposed to it?
I thought I asked. Didn't I say all those in favor?
In favor, yes, but not all those opposed.
Oh, you want to, all those opposed? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem, sorry. Okay. Article 6. To see if the town meeting will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell at public auction or by sealed bid or at assessed value under special circumstances any properties which the town may have acquired or may hereafter acquire through tax title foreclosure proceedings, and to sign, acknowledge, and deliver in the name and under the seal of the town deeds therefore, or act on anything relative thereto. Christine?
Kristen Pappas, Precinct 5. I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell at public auction or by sealed bid or at assessed value under special circumstances any properties which the town may have acquired or may hereafter require through tax title foreclosure proceedings, and to sign, acknowledge, and deliver in the name and under the seal of the town deeds therefore.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this article? Thank you. All those opposed? It is voted. Article 7. To see if the town meeting will vote to authorize the town treasurer to enter into compensatory balance agreements during fiscal year 2016 as permitted by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53F, or any other enabling statute. If voted, this would permit the treasurer to maintain specific sums of money and deposit in banks in return for banking services or act on anything relative thereto. Yes.
Mr. Moderator, Carolyn Corvo, Precinct 1, Article 7. I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town treasurer to enter into compensatory balance agreements during fiscal year 2016 as permitted by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53F, or any other enabling statute. If voted, this would permit the treasurer to maintain specific sums of money and deposit in banks in return for banking services.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this article signify by raising. Thank you. All those opposed? The article is voted. All right, Article 8. To see if the town meeting will vote to establish or renew revolving funds for various town and school programs in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, and Chapter 44, Section 53D, or act on anything relative thereto. Yes. Yes.
Carla Morano, Precinct 5, Article 8. I move that the town meeting vote to establish or renew revolving funds for various town and school programs as identified in the attachment.
Right, and the attached is what I spoke about earlier that was out there for you to get. Are there any, do I have a second? I have a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 8 signify by raising their hands. All those opposed? Article 8 is voted. Article 9. To see it, wait a minute, I got that hand. Okay, Article 9. To see if the town meeting will vote to authorize the town manager to enter into contract or contracts with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the construction and maintenance of public highways for the period commencing July 1st, 2015 and ending June 30, 2016, or act on anything relative thereto. Ms. Proudy?
Beth Proudy. Beth Proudy, Precinct 1, town meeting member. I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town manager to enter into a contract or contracts with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the construction and maintenance of public highways for the period commencing July 1, 2015 and ending July 30, 2016.
All right, is there a second? There is a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 9? Signify by raising. All those opposed? Article 9 is voted. Article 10. To see if the town meeting will vote to appropriate from available funds a sum of money, if it becomes available, from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Chapter 90 bond issue proceeds to be used for the repair and maintenance of town roads in conformance with the Commonwealth General Laws, or act on anything relative thereto. Mr. Proudy.
Mr. Moderator, Ron Proudy, Precinct 1. I move the town meeting vote to appropriate from available funds a sum of money, if it becomes available, from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, Chapter 90 bond issue, proceeds to be used for the repair and maintenance of town roads in conformance with the Commonwealth General Laws.
Do I have a second? I have, yes, okay, second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 10 signify by raising their hands. All those opposed? Article 10 is voted. Article 11. To see if the town meeting will vote to appropriate $500,000 to the other post-employment benefits liability trust fund, or act on anything relative thereto.
David Kamasi, Precinct 1. I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $500,000 to the other post-employment benefits liability trust fund.
All right, is there a second? There is a second. Are there any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, you need to sign it. Yes, do you have a question?
Yes. Doug Nelson, Precinct 2. Earlier in the discussion, when the presentation was up here, it was mentioned this OPEB liability is $67 million to the town. Is that correct? Just wanted to check on that number. That's an unfunded liability to the town? And this is the attempt to fund it, correct?
That is correct. The actuarial study was just performed for period ending June 30th of 14. It is pegged at $67 million. Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay. All those in favor of Article 11 signify by raising their hands. All those opposed? Article 11 is voted. Article 12. To see if the town meeting will vote to appropriate $124,000 from Medicaid receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2016 to fund supplies and medical, therapeutic, and educational services for significantly disabled special needs students, as well as tuition and transportation to and from outside placements or within the district for special needs students, or act on anything relative thereto. Yes, sir.
Dan Diamond, Precinct 5. I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $124,000 from Medicaid receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2016 to fund supplies and medical, therapeutic, and educational services for significantly disabled special needs students, as well as tuition and transportation to and from outside placements or within the district of special needs students.
Do I have a second? I have a second, yes. Do I have any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 12, signify, thank you. All those opposed? Article 12 is voted. Article 13, to see if the town meeting will vote to appropriate $8,478.71, which is the interest earned by the Auburn High School Gymnasium Health and Recreational Trust Fund to offset school department costs at Auburn High School in support of community health and recreational activities at Auburn High School Gymnasium and related facilities and equipment, or act on anything relative thereto. Yes?
Ellen Ethia, Precinct 5. I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $8,478.71, which is the interest earned by the Auburn High School Gymnasium Health and Recreational Trust Fund to offset school department costs at Auburn High School in support of community health and recreational activities at the Auburn High School Gymnasium and related facilities and equipment.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Do I have any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 13 signify by raising their hands. All those opposed? Article 13 is voted. Article 14. To see if the town meeting will vote to appropriate a sum of money from McKinney-Vento receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2016 to fund transportation for students to and from school who have become homeless during the 2014-2015 school year, or act on anything relative thereto.
Ellen Ganley, Precinct 4. I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate a sum of money from the McKinney-Vento receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2016 to fund transportation for students to and from school who have become homeless during the 2014-2015 school year.
All right, excuse me, ma'am, before you leave, Actually, my understanding is we want this article postponed, the school department wants the article postponed indefinitely. Would you now move to postpone Article 14 indefinitely?
I move to postpone Article 14 indefinitely.
Thank you. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor of postponing Article 14 indefinitely signify by raising their hands. All those opposed? Article 14, postpone, I got to write that in here, postpone indefinitely. Okay. Article 15. And to see if the town meeting will vote to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5C.5, and all subsequent amendments thereto, and increase the exemption values for which the taxpayer qualifies to 100% or act on anything relative thereto.
I move that town meeting vote to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5C.5, and all subsequent amendments thereto, and increase the exemption values for which the taxpayer qualifies by 100%.
All right, do I have a second? I have a second. Do I have any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 15? Thank you. All those opposed? Article 15 is voted. Before I go on to 16, going back to Mr. Bowling's original question, which was on Article 4, and we took care of it. And Article 3 and it was on Article 5. And Articles 3 and 4, we had done all those opposed before we did all those in favor, so that wasn't a problem. And I don't think on Article 2, I asked if anybody was opposed. So I'd like to go back to Article 2 and ask all those in favor of Article 2, signify by raising their hands. All those opposed? Thank you. Article 16. To see if the town meeting will vote to rescind unused borrowing authorizations previously voted by the town. 5/2/1996, sewer lines for various town streets, $3,000. 9/30/1996, design and construction of sanitary lines on Hill Prospect and Vesper Streets, $20,000. 11/15/1999, construction and rehabilitation of town parks, $1.1 million. 3/16/2000, constructing, equipping, and furnishing of new high school and rehabilitation of middle school, $12,833,913. 5/5/2006, police computer hardware, $250. 5/7/2009, 5-year capital improvement plan, $78,000. 5/5/2011, Auburn School feasibility study, $419,960, or act on anything relative thereto.
Thank you. Dennis Natoli, Precinct 1. I move that the town meeting vote to rescind unused borrowing authorizations previously voted by the town as printed in the town warrant.
Okay. That's it? Wait just one moment, please, sir. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. As printed in the warrant? Good, because that's not what I have in front of me. That's fine. Great, thank you. Is there a second? There is a second. Are there any questions? Yes, Mr. Nelson.
Doug Nelson, Precinct 2. Just a quick question. This is to rescind the borrowing. This has nothing to do with the operations or appropriations. Is that correct?
Correct. These are prior authorizations approved by town meeting to go out and borrow money for the purpose that has been indicated.
So has this money already been borrowed?
No.
Okay.
And there's no need to borrow it.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions? Okay, this is a 2/3 vote, so I will ask all those opposed to this article signify by raising their hands. Seeing none, all those in favor of this article signify by raising. It is voted unanimously. Thank you. Article 17. to see if the town meeting will vote to authorize the town treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow a total of $1.3 million for the following items: 2 sewer bypass pumps, Hilltop Farm Road pump station conversion to gravity sewer, and to convert aging pneumatic ejector stations to submersible pump stations. The principal and interest for this borrowing will be paid through sewer retained earnings or act on anything relative thereto. Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jeff Mitchell, Precinct 3. I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow a total of $1.3 million for the following items: 2 sewer bypass pumps, Hilltop Farm Road pump station conversion to gravity sewer, and to convert aging pneumatic ejector stations to submersible pump stations. The principal and interest for this borrowing will be paid through sewer retained earnings.
Mr. Mitchell, before you leave, Mr. Kazanovich, wasn't this supposed to be amended?
Yes.
Oh, he's going to make a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, got it. Yes, okay. Do I have a second on Mr. Mitchell's motion as read? I do.
Mr. Moderator, I'd
Yes,
like to
Mr.
offer an amendment to this article. I'd like to amend this by deleting the last sentence, which reads, "The principal and interest for this borrowing will be paid through sewer retained earnings."
All right, so the motion is to amend this article by eliminating the sentence, "The principal and interest for this borrowing will be paid through sewer retained earnings." Do I have a second on that? I have a second on that. Do I have any questions on the amendment? Yes, Mr. Bowling.
I just have a quick question. Is this just a housekeeping matter in that we can't really specify where that money will be paid back from? Is that the purpose of removing that?
All debt and interest that is related to the sewer enterprise fund is built into the sewer rate. If you were to appropriate directly on an annual basis out of the sewer retained earnings, you would wipe it out in a period of 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, so now the first vote is on the amendment, and this just requires a majority. All those in favor of the amendment signify by raising their hands. All those opposed? The amendment, they're going to write this, amended, eliminated. This sentence. Okay, we're now back to the original article as amended, and this will require a 2/3 vote. So I will, are there any questions on the original article before we vote? Seeing none, all those opposed to this, because it's 2/3, all those opposed signify by raising their hands. Seeing none, all those in favor of this article signify by, they voted unanimously. Article 18. To see if the town meeting will vote to repurpose remaining CIP funds as follows. So from 302-013-581340, A3 ATM 12 police portable radios, $110.10. 302-013-581338, A3 ATM 12 police-less lethal firearm, $2.90. 302-013-581337, A3 ATM 12 police target system, $12.16. 302-012-581227, A3 ATM 11 police carpeting, $838.67. 302-012-581226, A3 ATM 11 Police Firing Range, $1,923.51. 302-012-581225 A3 ATM 11 Police Security System, $148.38. 302-011-581131 A3 ATM 10 Police Breathalyzer, $1,742. 302-011-581129 A3 ATM 10 Town Hall Shelving, $10,000. 302-010-581011 A4 ATM 09 Library Computer Update, $145.96. 302-015-581014 A4 ATM 09 Parks Tractor, $75.81. 302-010-581016 A4 ATM 09 Engineer Eddie Pond Dam, $13,807.10. 302-009-589875 A4 ATM 08 Fire-HVAC Headquarters, $3,340. 302-009-589925 A4 ATM 08 Police K9, $700. 302-009-589939 A4 ATM 08 Parks F350, $430. 302-009-589948 A6 SDM 09 Parks Trailer, $55. 302-009-589949 A7 STM 09 Police Video, $1,014. $1,014. 302-009-589936 A4 ATM 08 Library Computer Update, $146.48. 302-009-589935 A4 ATM 08 COA Craft Area, $369.41. $369.41. 302-009-589926 A4 ATM 08 Fire Patient Care System, $112.87. 302-007-589007 A4 ATM 06 Police Computer Hardware, $174.54. The grand total is $35,148.89. To ventilation DP system, to ventilation system DPW garage, or act on anything relative thereto. Yes, sir.
I'm not going to be that rude. Rocco Morano, Precinct 5. I move that the town meeting vote to repurpose by amending remaining CIP funds as followed, as printed in the warrant.
As printed in the... You're the lucky one, okay. Are there any seconds? Yes, there is a second. Are there any questions? Yes, Barbara.
Mr. Moderator, what are CIP funds?
Capital Improvement Program. Am I correct? Yeah, capital improvement. The stuff we do in Article 3 every year.
They are CIP funds, but these are borrowed funds, strictly borrowed funds. So we have to repurpose them. They are remaining balances. There are remaining bond proceeds once the project has been completed. And now we're going to repurpose those for ventilation system at DPW garage.
Okay, are there any other questions? Seeing none, again, this is the 2/3, so all those in opposition to this article signify by raising their hands. Seeing no one opposed, all those in favor of this article signify by raising their hands. It is voted unanimously. Thank you. Unanimously. Article 19. Here we go. to see if the town meeting will vote to amend Article 26 of the May 1st, 2008 annual town meeting, which authorized the town treasurer to borrow the sum of $600,000 under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7, or any other enabling authority for the purpose of the town's share of reconstruction of Southbridge Street, Route 12 and 20 overlap from the Oxford Town Line to Washington Street. The amount of said borrowing shall be reduced by the value of any grants of mitigation agreements that the town may be the beneficiary of for the reconstruction of Southbridge Street, Route 12 and 20 overlap. The amendment shall include design services and right-of-way acquisitions for the reconstruction of Auburn Street from Central Street to I-290 or act on anything relative thereto. Sir.
Mr. Moderator, John O'Day, Precinct 5. I move that the town meeting vote to amend Article 26 of the May 1st, 2008 annual town meeting, which authorized the town treasurer to borrow the sum of $600,000 under the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7, or any other enabling authority for the purpose of the town's share of the reconstruction of Southbridge Street, Route 1220 overlap from the Auburn Town Line to Washington Street. The amount of said borrowing to be reduced by the value of any grants or mitigation agreements that the town may be the beneficiary of for the reconstruction of Southbridge Street, Route 1220 overlap. The amendment shall include design services and right-of-way acquisitions for the reconstruction of Auburn Street from Central Square to I-290.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Do I have any questions? Seeing none. Now here again, this is a 2/3, so let's go. All those opposed to this article signify by raising their hands. Seeing none, all those in favor of this article? It is voted unanimously. And may I point out that we are finishing the annual town meeting before 9 o'clock. Would somebody like to move to dissolve?
Make motion to be dissolved.
Any second? All those in favor?